Hey y'all. I'm back with the John Todd collection. Now, I never showed y'all a picture of this guy. Hold on. Wait a minute. I gotta make sure that y'all can hear me because sometimes this does come in kind of low. Okay. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me do a couple of things real quick. Yeah, let me have this showing. There we go. Let's see. Let me put this up real quick. And welcome to the live, everybody. I'm just doing a continuation on the series of the John Todd collection. If you hip to the conspiracy theorist, a truth seeking game, this is he is one of those that is used as a reference point of you know studies and stuff like that as far especially as far as the entertainment world, Hollywood, well, entertainment Hollywood, the music industry, um, and your political world, and your world religion. So right now I'm typing as I'm talking to you guys. So I'm starting tonight on it's tape 1B. And let me show you a picture of this guy. Okay, that is Mr. John Todd, or he claimed his birth name was John Collins. He claimed that he was a high level wizard. Um, he was heavy into witchcraft. His family ties, um, his family ties had ties to the 13 Illuminati families. He claims that he even had um, connections to a lot of churches at that time. Now, he's talking about the time where um, Jimmy Carter was president. So that's 70s, 80s, and stuff like that. So um, he is talking to a church. So he is using a lot of biblical scriptures. I'm not editing it out. Um, I do have to be careful with certain words that he does use that is sensitive to YouTube. I'm gonna try to catch him in time. Um, and let's see how tonight goes. So that's a picture of him, and this is a quick bio. He was born May 19th, 1949, Bula, Australia, and he allegedly died, and I do say allegedly, November the 10th, 2007, at age 58. I do say alleged because there was a lot of circumstances, even uh, um, approaching his death, according to other sources. Um, so, and then a lot of things allegedly happened to him before his death. So, for for the sake of this presentation, this is what it has listed as his official death. Okay, so like I said, we are on tape 1B, and have an open mind to it. And you'll see, and I'll stop this recording periodically because it I want people to see, like, hopefully you'll see in or listen by listening the correlations of what's going on today to what was even going on back then. So without any further of me yapping, let me go ahead and start the first tape. Well, let me, is, I, when I was recording this, I made an oopsie and I stopped it prematurely. So we're going to play this through. It's about 36 minutes, but it is in two parts because I made that oopsie. So thank you for being in here. Thank you for the replay value, and subscribe to my channel. This is a brand new channel. I'm starting from the bottom, and this is what I'm presenting. So here you go, y'all.
After a year's worth of training, initiated to the 6th level or Grand Druid position of witchcraft, I sit on a council of 13 people that take orders only from the Rothschild Tribunal in London, which they claim they take their orders directly from Lucifer. And that's why they reside. Somebody's asking me if some of the Rothschilds lived in California. Not those directly related to the tribunal. They won't leave England. Some live in France, but they always come over to England because they believe that England is the place that Lucifer is most fluent and can speak to them more in person than he could anywhere else. And from talking to Christians in England, they estimate there's only 2% of the population are Christians in the Great Britain country. So they have quite a fluent time over there. In fact, some friends of mine just brought pictures back of where they're building homes with broomstick poles coming out of the chimney for the witch spirits to land on to bless their homes. These aren't ignorant people. These are the new $1 million mansions that are going up. It's not just a superstition. The country has really gone back to witchcraft. It was originally total witchcraft. So this is the atmosphere I came out of. I was saved in Labor Day of '72 in San Antonio through a movie, The Cross and the Switchblade, a coffee house ministry that belonged to a Baptist church there, and then later deliverance through that Baptist church. I've been ministering with people in the occult, and in the last year, my main ministry has been to Christians playing with the occult. And we're going to demonstrate that in a minute here. But this is what our ministry outlook has been. We just...
Yeah, as I mentioned before, he is talking to a church, and his main focus, like, to show the errors of Christian folks playing with Ouija boards, consulting horoscopes, zodiac signs, things of that nature. So that's what his talks is really geared towards. So let's get back to it.
Yes. And September went to Minneapolis, St. Paul area, which is where the occult owns one of their Bible colleges, their printing company, Llewellyn. Through Christians Giving, we bought 10,000 of the broken crosses to distribute free there. We went there and we worked for 2 weeks there through the state fair and other things that was going on, and had a hotline set up for them to call in. And they knew we were coming, and they canceled their convention, and it was booked close to 500,000 people were scheduled to appear at their convention, and they cost them thousands and thousands of dollars. And the stories that best we could get was they were too afraid that this broken cross would get in their hands, since it has been the leading instrument for stopping people in joining and getting those that were in. And they called the convention the Aquarian Arts Festival completely off. First time it's been done so in years. And we're going back there. In fact, Friday and Saturday, we're going back for 5 meetings, being a prayer for us. The people who put the second $100,000 on my head came out of Minneapolis because of the last time we were up there. So be in prayer for my safety while we're up there. I would really appreciate your prayer. It was kind of hairy the last time we were up there. But this is my background, and I want to say one thing before we start here for those that are newcomers. The organization that I came out of is a cult in religion, not in purpose. Its purpose is political and financial power, complete world rule through finance, which they believe would control the political atmosphere. It's been called by many people the Illuminati. Witches call it Mariah. In the United States, it's called the Council of Foreign Relations. It has many, many names wherever you go. I met Dr. Rasmussen because he had come across it through the Masons. I've met people who have come across it through political things, through financial and banking, and wherever people have seen it, they have thought that's exactly what it was. It was either in one of those realms. I came out of a realm where I knew better. I came off of a council that was in charge of dishing money out and political orders. In my area, I had 5,000 covens. That meant I had 65,000 priests and priestesses. That wasn't the congregation. That was just the ministers. I saw a movie by Hal Lindsey on the occult where he said he believed there were 5,000 witches in the United States. There are 25,000 witches in Los Angeles City alone. So he was way undershort. From the statistics that we are seeing right now, it is the fastest growing religion in the United States and definitely in the world. And the reason it is doing this is because it has its financial power, and it's because the Christians, most of them, do not know their word and therefore are afraid of it, and therefore do not witness to the people that are in it. And we have not had much success in the last couple of years because they have stepped up the death threats within the occult for people leaving. It's like a Berlin Wall. And the people were afraid to come out. When we were there, we were in a meeting one night where we had over 5,000 people in one meeting. In that meeting, 1,500 of them were initiated priests and priestesses of witchcraft that had attended the meeting. And hundreds came up and told ministers, myself and my wife later, they would come out if we could guarantee them a safe place to go until they were strong enough to be on their own. We didn't have such a place. We're trying to prepare such a place now. And if you're interested in helping in such a place, get with Dr. Rasmussen when he comes back from this trip. Communicate with him your desire on this, since he will be one of the few people who will know where this place is and be able to send people to it. It will be completely hidden and secret. We had one once before in Phoenix, and 3 people were killed there one night because some pastors interfered with the security of the place, and the occult was watching, and they came in and machine gunned to death 3 girls and wounded the worker. The girls were ages 15 to 18. They do not play games, and this is why we tell the young people, don't go, because they'll tell you to come in, it's nice, it's loving, it's a brotherhood, and you get in, and once you're initiated, you find out it'll cost them $10,000 if you try to leave, but they'll spend it. That's the minimum bounty they put on anybody's head getting out, and they don't care how young they are. So it's not a game. It's a real world out there. So that's some quick background, a few words to the young people. I'll just take, like we did this morning, the questions and answers. Many of you were here, and I know you have questions and answers from this morning's service. Okay? Since you asked that question, I wanted to do something this morning I forgot. If you will take out some pencil and paper, a few of you, I'm going to give you some facts. You know, we hear a lot of things rolled out on things, but I want to give you facts so that when you come up to somebody, especially just young people fooling with rock music, you'll have some facts. Now, I want to say one thing before we get started. Young people have been running all over saying hi, been friendly to me. They're going to want to lynch me when this is over. But young people, you'll just have to understand that I came out of a world that I saw something you don't see when you turn on the radio. Parents, if you're letting to compromise with your young people, them having rock music in your home, which you as Christian parents own and are responsible to the Lord for, then you're wrong. And I recommend you go home right now and throw it in the trash can immediately. And this is the reason why. You see groups up on the television and you hear them on the radio and in concert and stuff, and you don't see the behind things. Now here's one fact. Zodiac Productions, the leading Texas publication. It's changed its name now, but it was Zodiac Productions when I was with it. I was supposedly the owner of it. The occult owned it. And it was the leading source of concerts in Texas. Its office was in San Antonio. Because I was supposedly the owner, I met most of the groups in existence then. There are a few that have come out since then, but it's still the same type of thing. Almost all of them believe openly in the occult in one way or the other. Most are into Satanism. Now, how many, especially the young people, remember from Billy Jack, One Tin Soldier, the song? Few of you? Okay. The group you heard on the radio called Original Cast. They always said it was done by the original cast. The name of the group that was the original cast is Coven. It was led by Tom Laughlin's daughter. Tom Laughlin played Billy Jack, his wife, his son, David, who produced it, and both his daughters are into Satanism. In fact, they produced the only 8-track out on a complete Satanist step-by-step ceremony done by Coven. And that's the group who did One Tin Soldier. And I've seen all of the movies except the new one that's coming out. And every one of the Billy Jack movies are anti-Christian, pro-occult. The trial of Billy Jack dealt with demons and had more ceremonies of witchcraft and Satanism in it than it had anything about a trial of Billy Jack. And it was constant step-by-step ceremonies. It was reincarnation. Familiar spirits entered his body in the first Billy Jack and spoke through him, if you remember. Over and over, it came through. Now, that's one group. Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger has told openly, over and over on television, I don't know where our Christian young people were when it was going on, that when he was in jail before the Stones was ever formed, he sold his soul to the devil. That's impossible, but he did it anyway. He sold his soul to the devil to become the leading rock group in the nation, plus get out of prison.
That portion, Mick Jagger did admit on tape, on recordings, and a lot of musicians have admitted when they were interviewed that they did sell their souls for their record deals and whatnot. Bob Dylan, during his interview, said the familiar. He sold his soul for a record deal and things of that nature. So, this is to me, this is not anything I haven't heard before. Um, by the next tape, I am going to include some clippings of, especially Mick Jagger and some other people, um, either stating that they had sold their souls for a deal or for an acting role or whatever, or they practiced some form of channeling. Um, Denzel Washington um, is one of my number one examples. Well, not number one examples, but one of the few examples that I remember and actually have in my library is saying that, especially when he was playing in the movie Glory, in order to play his role, he had to channel spirits in order for that role to come to pass. He felt that on his own accord, that words. On his own accord, he wouldn't have been able to pull off that role. So by the second tapes, I'm going to show other examples um, of people he's referring to, and other people over the years saying the similar things of what Mick Jagger was quoted saying and what John Todd is talking about here. Okay, let's get back to it.
Is the leading rock group in the nation, in the world. He has wrote songs praising the devil. And I know the devil gave it to him because the devil always thinks on himself. And in one song that Jagger wrote, he said, "It's not that I fool you who I am." Everybody knows who the devil is. It's the nature of my game that's confusing you. And this is what...
And what's so crazy, the song that he's talking about, I think is Symphonies for the Symphonies for the Devil. And I used to like that song as a little girl until I got older and realized and was told and taught what that song was really about. Just food for thought.
way it is with Satan. See, we've got a little set of rules that Satan's supposed to obey, but he don't obey it. It's like the Illuminati. They own countries. They don't pick sides in a war. They cause a war and put both countries against each other, even though both countries belong to them. They don't have sides. They have a purpose. Satan has every religion except that which is under the blood of Jesus. That's where the confusion of the game is. We try to rationalize things good or bad, and we can't do that. We rationalize things Jesus or the devil. That's where you draw the line. But Jagger over and over, and that goes with rock music too. Don't try to rationalize it good or bad. It's bad. Now, I want to give you an incident that will kind of sum it up. I did meet most of them. Most of them were in the occult, but most of them were on drugs. Now, I want to say something real quick here. How many remember a group called Bloodstone, or Blood Rock, I think it was? DOA, the song DOA. They did this song while they were on acid. They got the words. I talked with a guy, he said a demon, well, he didn't call it a demon, he called it the spirit of this girl that he knew that had died in a car accident. It was a demon impersonating the girl. Appeared to him and gave him during this acid trip the notes, the words, and everything. They filed it with a copyright lawyer. The day after the copyright lawyer filed it, another group came in that was well known at that time and filed the same song, note for note, word for word. And when I was in the occult, I thought it was interesting enough to check it up because I wrote for an occult newspaper and I put the story in the paper. They got it the same way, on an acid trip, the same night, from a demon imitating a spirit of somebody they had known that had died. Most rock musicians get their music while on drugs or from spirit guides, which are demons. That's what your young people are buying and paying for. Now, I'll give you something supernatural you can file away if you don't want to receive it or take it home. And
This portion I do agree with because it would make sense since nowadays the progression of music from generation to generation, it's the same thing. It's the same programming, it's the same spirits and demons that I feel are running rampant. Um and it seems like it comes out in different forms, but it just comes out, it's the same thing, but it's just presented differently and more progressive to the generation and the audience that it's aimed to hit. Example, and I don't want to pick on rap music, but I'm gonna pick on it, right? Um, blunts, lean, mollies, X, Xannies, you know, they're very prominent in the hip hop culture, unfortunately. It's not a new thing. As you can see, he's talking about ro- um, rock artists when they would perform whatever, the first thing they would do was have an acid trip, then they would perform. So it's same thing. It's just done differently, but it's still the same thing. If that makes sense. Hopefully it did. Let's get back to it.
word and see if it's possible. When witches write a book, they cast a spell over the book so it'll sell. And they order a demon to go into every copy that comes off the press. So when you own a book on witchcraft, you have a demon residing in your home, free of charge. The musicians who do the music that are in witchcraft do the same things to the record album. The same thing. So when you see that friendly little album spinning on your thing, ask yourself, was the musician a witch? Did he cast a spell over the album that the devil would have a pact in my home because I owned the records? There's more to it than records and books. And this morning, you remember I gave the text and I meant to get into this end because it fits the text. Your warfare is not physical, it's spiritual. And every Christian should memorize Ephesians 6:12 and stand on it. Look beyond what you see with these. And look and know that the devil has got, thousands and thousands of years of experience. And unless we think with the mind of Christ, he's going to walk all over us. And that's why you stay under the blood. A young man came up and asked me today, can a witch cast a spell on a Christian? You can cast it on any Christian that's not living the life. If you want to fence straddle, you're a wide open target for any witch in the world. If you want to stay under the blood, and you want to walk the line and be within the Word and within the Spirit of God, and wear the full armor of God, then you're going to be fine. Well, I think all of us know what it means when we come to church and sit in the service and then go out and live like the devil all week long and think we're immune to anything of the devil. If you're going to live in his territory, he's going to live in yours. And that includes the rock music. I was a little long on that question, but I cannot miss the rock music. The main reason that young people go into witchcraft today is through the music. As I've told people, rock music didn't come out with Elvis Presley. It's thousands of years old. If you take it away, witches can't do witchcraft. They can't function without the music. It's a third of their power. You think about it. Many modern churches know who their source of power is anyway. Yeah. You would. You would. All right, the question was, The question was this morning that I mentioned the chart that I had this morning, or I mentioned this morning that I had seen, and when I saw the chart it was August the 1st, 1972, for those that want to write it down, and I was saved on Labor Day, just shortly before I was saved. It was one of the main reasons I got saved. I wanted out after I saw the chart. The chart was a complete timetable that gave the Illuminati complete world control minus China. I want to specify that. Minus China in 8 years. The reason minus China, they plan on taking China completely out. It's too unruly to try and rule. They plan on wiping.
Now, of course, that didn't happen because we're in 2024 and China is still around. So, yeah, certain like rule of thumb with me, and I've always been taught while being in this movement, you always research things on your own. On your own. You can't take everything. You can't take everything. You gotta leave certain parts behind. Okay. So just wanted to let that be known.
And so I'll let that settle with you for a minute. And it gave him complete world control and religious control in 8 years. Now the question was, what did the energy crisis and what did Jimmy Carter have to do with it? Okay, I want to ask the question before I answer that. How many here honestly believe, if you don't believe now, this counts if you believe during the election time, that Jimmy Carter is a Christian president, or is a Christian, period? Huh? I mean, any time from during the time he was running as candidate till now, if any time during that time.
The question was asked, how history repeats itself. The question was asked when Donald Trump was running, was he really is he a Christian president? And do we consider him a Christian president? Hmm. And now 2024, we got Kamala and Donald. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I'm just really waiting for this election to be over with. Um, but you have Donald, who was asked that very same question was asked about him. Was he a Christian president? I'm like, I hope not. Nope, I don't claim him. But I just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, let's go.
Thought he was a Christian, maybe voted for him because he was a Christian. Okay? See, we have some intelligent people here. I didn't mean it the way it came out, but it's simply the reason that I got saved was because of Jimmy Carter. You don't sit at a table remembering Bible that you were taught when you were a young person and have people come in with a letter from the Rothschilds signed with their crest saying, we have a man, and name him that will be the world ruler and stay a witch. And the name was Jimmy Carter. I want you to start looking at, of course, you got to accept and throw away half of what you see on the television news today. I recommended to Christians in last year that they buy a shortwave receiver and receive news broadcasts throughout the world. You'll find out in 30 days you miss 2/3 of what really happened. But you also find out the Lord's really close after listening to it for about a month. But the energy crisis is going to be the reason for the war, for the Third World War. It is their main objective. They believe through the energy crisis they will gain control of the world. It's what they've been waiting on. And if you believe there's an energy crisis, then you're dumber than some of the witches that are still witches. Yeah. The Church of Scientology was formed by a witchcraft coven in California originally. That its leader came from England on express orders of the Rothschilds. There are a few religions we can't prove physically belong to the organization, but we have seen funding go their way. Now, as I have done quite a bit of investigation since I was saved because of facts I heard when I was in witchcraft, don't just look at obscene religions like Scientology, Jehovah's Witness, Mormonism. Look at even Christian churches within Bible-believing denominations. There was a couple, quote, Jesus people, garbage churches, that began a few years ago in L.A., Costa Mesa, and so on. They had a few hundred kids. All of a sudden, the pastors move into $500,000 homes, and the churches are taking their offerings out in armored cars. Now, where did they get the funds to buy a $2 million building overnight? They were preaching gospel. Now they're preaching trash. One of them is responsible for the so-called Jesus rock that has ruined half of the good Christian young people today. Now, I never speak against anything unless I go check it out. And I went down to Costa Mesa and I saw something that bordered witchcraft on their open concert night at Calvary Chapel on Saturday night.
I'm sorry for stopping. I'm sorry for stopping this tape. Again, he's talking about 70s, 80s. Well, let's look at what's going on today. Well, you have T.D. Jakes being busted. You had Joe Osteen being busted during Hurricane Harvey when he had his big, beautiful church in Houston, but couldn't open his doors to the people who needed refuge from the hurricane. Then you have Creflo Dollar. You have Juanita Bynum. So again, it's the same thing. It's just presented differently, but it's the same thing, even with religion and even with world Christianity.
There are people shoving and beating on each other just to get a seat in that place. And they turned hundreds away. Nothing was mentioned about Jesus, and a homosexual was leading the service. And you had to have been blind not to see it. And it was a total acid rock type concert in the name of Jesus. Now that's the same group that puts out all your love song albums and all this stuff that people listen to. So I try to warn as I go along things that we have found out. It's up to Christians. It's like Paul said, if you think meat's not a sin, eat it. And if you think it is, don't eat it. And if you want to buy what I'm saying, I think your walk will get a little stronger. If you want to keep on listening to stuff, I can look at Christians and tell how strong they are in the Lord and where they're walking with Him by the type of music they're listening to. And then I'm this way. If I find something in my life that I don't want to give up, I'll usually give it up because...
Listen, I'm a music lover. There's a lot of music I don't listen to because my understandings and what I found to be true, especially the influences of music, the different sounds and vibrations and beats, the origins of certain samples that we listen to. But I had to come into this understanding. Have I given it up completely, certain music? No. A lot of it I have. So if you like your walk in life is your walk in life, if you're a Christian and this is one of your areas that you're struggling with, I mean, he's kind of harsh with it. That's why I was like, so you take what you take from John Todd, and then the things that you need to leave, just leave it. Um, but don't feel like too much of a hypocrite because certain music you're still indulgent in. Like that's just progressions in life, like and progressions in your walk. So I felt he was kind of harsh. I agree. I agree to a certain extent what he was trying to say. Okay.
You know, it's that simple. When you don't want to give something up, the devil's usually trying to get you to hang on to it. Do I subscribe to Oral Roberts being a member of witchcraft?
That's
Oral
true.
Roberts,
That's true. That's true. I agree with that.
Used to, and this is fact, it's fact you can find in books. Before he ever considered laying hands on the sick that they would recover, a Cherokee medium told him that he could do it. And he used to attend her seances regularly, okay? What he is now, I can't say. I only know the fact of what he was. I was once a witch, so, you know, he could be a Christian. I don't know. I have no idea. I know that he's gotten out of more of the Pentecostal charismatic and become more scriptural based on the Bible than on feeling now than he used to be. And I've known many ministers that were once witchcraft ministers under the guise of Christians that have just changed mid-river and became Christians. But they, rather than ruin their ministry, they've never told anybody. And there are a few that I know that used to be on the payroll of the Illuminati that are now Christians. So I don't know. Yes. No. All right, the question is, can a demon possess a Christian? No. Can a demon influence a Christian? Yes. Yes. I was saved, born again, 2 weeks, and trying desperately to make it before the other ministers in the Baptist church I was at decided that I was never going to make it unless they got what I had invited in me in witchcraft out of me, because it was still there. It had lost control. Before, I couldn't do anything it didn't want me to do. But from the time I accepted Jesus, that broke the control. But it had influence in my life still that had to go. And for those that have been on drugs and those that have been in the occult, and there have been a few that come up and told me so, they'll probably bear witness that they have. This is what I was talking about earlier, the withdrawal. A lot of it went when I went through the occult withdrawal, which is worse than drug withdrawal. It is tremendously worse. A person that has come out of witchcraft, that has been in it strongly, and demon worship in particular, can be 1 minute just sitting there really talking about the Lord, quoting Scripture, and the next minute knocking anybody down between you and the door. I've seen them claw up the wall with their bare fingers trying to claw out of the room they were going to withdraw in just to get out, because the force on the other side was calling them back to them, the other witches. This is what they do first. Then if they can't get you back, then they try and kill you supernaturally. That don't work on a Christian, so they try. It was really funny. Most witches had given up the aspect of trying to kill me supernaturally shortly after I was saved. This is how they tried first. I went to Minneapolis, and they hadn't got the message, evidently. So they started casting spells, which didn't work at all, but you could feel them in the air. And then, when they found out that didn't work after a week, then they took the boat. But they hadn't got the message yet. But they're slowly learning they can't cast on a Christian if the Christian is sold out. I'm sure a few people know there's those that have Jesus as Savior, and then there's those that have Jesus as Lord. Yes. My wife was saved in a meeting a few years after I was saved, and her title was Lady Diana. That was her witch name. She was the state high priestess. She ruled everything in the state of Ohio that was in witchcraft. She was also the witch queen of one of the denominational brotherhood, the Watchers. On a scale in this country of maybe 1 to 25, she was probably the 10th most powerful witch in the United States after my salvation. And she has close to $50,000 on her head because she's come out, not because she married me, just because she got saved. And we took her into a rehabilitation ministry, and then later we started dating and we're married and so on. But she does a fine ministry. Right now she's just about ready to deliver a baby. She thinks she might even have it today. So she's not exactly ministering lately. Yeah. No. Okay. Let me take about 5 minutes here. The question is human sacrifice practiced in witchcraft? I have to be kind of careful since a police officer is present here without.
And I think I'm going to cut it off at that point. Well, first of all, I had charged my phone and I forgot I gotta look for my charger. Wow. So I'm gonna leave it off. I'm gonna leave it at there. I gotta remember the timestamp on it. It was 21 minutes. I'll pick it up from there next Sunday. Um, and then I'm just gonna finish it all out. It's not really that much left, and I don't want to like. He's gonna start talking about things I really don't want interrupted. So I'm gonna cut it off right now, and it'll be the same time, same place, same station channel, and we'll finish up um, tape 1B. Okay. Um, Thanks again for viewing this later. Um, and thank you people for the support. Hey, let me charge my phone.